My upload schedule is on a downward spiral into the shadow realm. It's the only jurisdiction I can give to my absence in the football world. In order to remedy that, I'd like to let you know about a phenomenal deal located directly in the Squidtard store. From the description of this video, you can be led to a masterclass of Squidtard items and other aneurysm-giving merch. Why am I telling you this now? Because it just so happens that I've dropped a promo code for the next 9 people who purchase Squidtard merch. Use the promo code TARDARIA to receive 25% off your order. Be fast though, this code will only last for so long. Now then, enjoy the video. Stanford football. Not exactly a blue blood by any standard, but they weren't a bottom dweller of the football world. In our generation, Stanford had a time period where most who dared throw hands at them died. Andrew Luck and Jim Harbaugh brought upon a regime of the West Coast which turned them into what we thought was going to be an everlasting respectable program in the Pac-12. During the 2010s, they had many outlying seasons which put them in that position. The adventure that followed was the equivalent of taking brand new Air Jordans into a cow pasture and hoping they remained clean once running to the other side. Spoiler, they didn't. In fact, they were covered in layers of cow pies and whatever the hell else was there. It was almost as grotesque as their mascot. Almost. This shitstorm had reached the eye when David Shaw, the man behind the doo-doo, called it quits before the storm could can them themselves. Despite being the winningest coach of all time in their school, the playbook was becoming old and decrepit to the point that punting on third down was a better solution. It was time for change. But the program was on a major decline. The coaching job market in 2022 was in high value and a lot of the coaches were moving to programs at the higher level of relevance in the current era. The trees were minimal on options, and time was burning away faster than they could comprehend. So what do they do at this point? The only real answer is more suffering. We pivot over to Sacramento State, which after the 2022 season became a Big Sky empire after they won their third conference title in a row. They were on sky high following an undefeated regular season. Unfortunately, as it does for many, pain followed. A loss to Incarnate Word left their fans confused and disappointed. And then they were pissed once they found out their coach left for the FBS. But enough about them as the FCS has gotten enough attention for the week. Back to Stanford, who just so happens to be the team who took their man. This is their last chance to return to the top of the Pac-12 hierarchy with their conference literally attached to a landmine they'll forcefully walk off of after the season. Desperate for any sort of success, the Cardinal might be returning to the world of relevance. It all depends on what happens with the tenure of Mr. Troy Taylor. I'm sure this story won't end with him getting canned for something like bullying female colleagues. Certainly not. Right? Welcome to 2023. The football gods have blessed you with the biggest piece of cake they could draw up in the form of Hawaii. Clearly the defense is moving forward, forcing negative rushing yards is something that is hard to achieve. Let's just conveniently forget the 350 passing yards they got in order to propel them a little further. Ashton Daniels looks strong, Benjamin Urasic got a career high, it's looking great for the trees. Let's hope the remaining part of the schedule is just as easy. Well, so much for that. Walking straight into the house of the number 6 team in the land. But remember when Marshall walked into South Bend and beat a top 10 Notre Dame team? Anything is pos and it's over. Smack you around so much the game was over yesterday. The Condoms are a great team though, so no embarrassment in losing to them. And Texas A&M syndrome has hit another victim. If the ass whooping is a testament to anything coming up, just prepare your helmet in advance. Speaking of which, the football gods have a particularly vile gift for you now. As you know in football, some manage to get their way out of hell while some others fall deeper into the void. There's no void deeper than losing to an FCS school, the one you literally just left when you're trying to get a rebuilding process done in another school. If you think about it, they were doing you a favor by breaking your heart. They were preparing you for the real pain. For what it's worth, and this is the only good thing to come from this, the fact that you're stuck in the Pac-12 network purgatory verifies that like 7 people had to see this abomination from their TV. This is of course excluding the 30,000 masochists who bought tickets. Continuing onward with our Squidtard therapy session, Troy Taylor and the Trees host Heisman candidate Bo Nix and the Duckies. Unfortunately for you, the 5th time of hearing Heisman and Bo Nix actually had some weight with it. With your offense as active on the ground as a tree, this game ended before the year even started. It's less like Oregon was playing football and more like they were aura farming. The news gets worse when you realize the real aura farmers are hosting you. they'd bash your skulls in while making TikTok dances and promoting Travis Hunter's eventual Heisman campaign. It wasn't until you realized Colorado actually sucked that you started playing football. Down by 29 at the half, Taylor got the men of the trees back on the right foot and quickly closed the gap. Deion Sanders and Buff Nation hardly knew what hit him as they were checked out for an entire half. But once Eleke Omanor locked in, it was already too late.
And that's where they come, battling.
Oh what a grab!
God.
What a highlight!
Now you f***ed up! Finally gets rid of it. Picked off in the end zone. Strong second half for the win. The Cardinals storm into Boulder.
Well, it's about fucking time, ain't it? Halfway through the year and you finally claim a conference victory. Hopefully this clown show collapse from SportsCenter's gimmick will propel you to much greater heights with the rest of the season waiting down the stretch. Or it'll propel you to immediately be sawed in half again. Maybe at some point this season you'll try and prevent someone from scoring. I know that's asking a lot, but if Lincoln Riley can field a mid-tier defense, the sky's the limit. Well, if it's worth anything, at least this time you attempted to score. If you're going to try and go blow for blow with no care for defense, you could always move over to the Big 12. All it took was me bringing up the prospect of the Big 12 and now you've managed to stop somebody, all at the cost of erasing your own offense, from future Big 12 member to a guaranteed spot in the top of the Big 10 West. Nonetheless, you managed to finally break the losing streak, albeit due to Wazoo's self-mutilation. The bad news is that your free trial to winning ball games has expired. You have enough money at the University of Purdue to purchase WinWar and a whole lot more, but as you usually do, you dare not spend a dime on athletics. Your consolation prize for this is allowing DJ Ukulele to lead Oregon State to their largest margin of victory over you in history. You're likely the reason Florida State thought he could lead them through the next season. One of the only good things you've done this season. The bear humping the tree in the woods of California. It happened, but nobody was there to witness it or remember it ever happened. So are they even trees at this point? They're more like saplings that whittled out and died from a lack of water. In this case, they died from a lack of wins because they weren't even close to a bowl game. While a 3-9 season is better than what happened with Ryan Walters at Purdue, there's no such thing as a program where 3 wins per season is the standard. I also have a very hard time believing that this program is happy with where they're at when the only player that was drafted off of this year's team is the fucking kicker. Whatever talent was left behind bailed to a different school. With this much of a full-on collapse, the only thing left to do is go hunt for the Dragon Balls and wish for a better team. Since that's not an option, the actual only thing left to do is go to the transfer portal, where you picked up a whopping 2 players. The only other good news to come out of this year's offseason was the recruiting class you claimed. While it isn't the best, them mixed in with whatever is left on the roster could collide for a team competitive enough to win the FCS. While you're not going there, you're going somewhere on a slightly more competitive level. It may be a conference full of clowns, fake basketball schools, and impending lawsuits, but it'll suit your rebuild well. I think. If there's anything good about this for you, it's that you live on the West Coast, so whichever fans who are numb enough to the pain to watch only had to stay up past like 10 o'clock to watch their team attempt to wrap someone up like a T-Rex. The old clutch bone got you again, huh? Everyone knows something about that. Your brother from the South could tell you all about it, except they're over in the Big Ten now. Hey, at least this time the FCS didn't get you. Don't be happy about it though, it was still a struggle. If your offensive line struggles to block Cal Poly's defense, you'll need to wrap your quarterback in solid steel in order for him to survive through 2024.
Kenny, right down the middle, don't you know?
Well, there's a plot twist nobody saw coming. The Citrus Shit-tacular found a way to sell at the best time possible for you. Your defense actually remembered how to play football again, ensuring Honda McCord swallowed his own tongue after the talk he initiated last week. I certainly hope this isn't just a diamond in the rough following a selection of football diarrhea. Certainly not Stanford! Welcome to my conference, says Dabo Sweeney. He mailed you a gift basket with a skyscraper-sized L. He can only mail you that because he can't transfer... Sorry, that's a force of habit of mine, I'm sorry. You won't believe me when I say it, but Stanford is actually doing something I never would have expected them to do. Bring in an attendance record over 30,000, despite their performance on the field. Yeah, it's not much of a surprise, but when you're getting this as football, you take the wins where you can get them. There's no such thing as plentiful rations in the ACC, unless you're SMU. It's kind of weird at this point that we can credit Stanford more than Notre Dame for stopping Stanford's offense. Notre Dame doesn't even have to do anything. They can just watch as the saplings shit themselves prematurely. You gotta give them time to adjust. Just like the time zone, they're about 3 hours behind everyone else. Adjusting to the East is hard. Unless you're SMU. Speaking of which, remember that one time the trees were competitive? That one time a long time ago? We as outsiders remember, but the Stanford fans that are still sober are looking at the liquor like their Green Goblin mask right now. As quoted from Taylor, "It's painful for everybody to lose when it's not close at the end." Boy, if that's true, I sure do hope you have painkillers in your locker room. Well, the good news here is that quote Taylor came out with last week aged like milk. But the bad news...
It would be a 53-yard attempt from here. Pump fake for Daniels. Launch one for Io Banner. Oh, and it's intercepted by Nick Anderson. You guys suck!
The Dave Doran offense has fallen off a cliff this season, but thanks to your contributions, they nearly tripled their offensive average in this game. Maybe the ACC was playing chess over checkers when adding you. Free win for everybody else. Except a Louisville team that quite literally the week before knocked off Clemson at home. I would say the blind squirrel found the nut, but a sapling can't move, so shout out to the win for that one. Hey, turn that off. That's a college football chaos thing. We're not there yet. Anyway, back to our regularly scheduled programming.
And they will be aggressive here. Daniels being chased from the backside. Throws it up for grabs. Incomplete.
It's moments like these where you question if Jim Harbaugh cheated at Stanford too. You know, this has to feel like a scam at this point. Your university is one of the wealthiest in the country, and whether you're a student, administrator, or just a fan who bought tickets, the only thing you're getting out of it is the loss of a chunk of your paycheck and a weekly dose of pain and agony.
Blitz comes. Egan has time. Corner throw. It's hurry. It's a touchdown.
Are y'all even saplings at this point? You're more like a weed in the backyard of a Dollar General. Another 3-9 season with no improvement shown from the coaching staff or drive for improvement as the season progresses. They were so devoid of life by the end of it that they didn't even bother firing Troy Taylor, as they had a different idea in mind. In an attempt to go back to the prime days of the trees, they brought back a man all too familiar with the Cardinal. Well, ain't this a twist nobody saw coming? Anything to get the program to at least exist again, I suppose. One thing for sure is that with him now being the general manager, this puts even more pressure on Taylor, as the leash he has thinned out even more. One mishap at any point without success could result in the Tuco sound effect dropping. Better stay on your toes. But why did I even make this video? I only do this for coaches that get fired or move to a different school. So...
Culture problem in football. The behavior of Stanford University's head football coach is in the public spotlight tonight.
Taylor created a culture problem in football by showing a disregard for gender equity concerns and poor treatment of female administrators.
Oh boy.
Taylor adamantly denied the accusations,
boy.
but for example, a female staffer wrote in an email to the school, "Troy has been aggressive, disrespectful, angry, and frankly mean to my team and me. Discriminatory on the basis of her sex and has had a significant negative impact on her."
This move comes after our sister network ESPN broke the news that the longtime coach had been investigated for allegedly bullying, directing his comments to female staff.
He had a pattern, as the second investigation said, a pattern of this behavior that was not corrected after the first investigation.
A source tells ESPN that former football star and current general manager Andrew Luck initially doubled down on his support of Coach Taylor shortly after the news of the investigations broke. That tone drastically changed Tuesday morning.
It is evident to me that our program needs a reset.
Yeah, so it turns out that Troy Taylor has been getting investigated for allegations of bullying female colleagues going back to as long as when he first got there. Whether this was just an excuse to pull the plug or an actual case of the accused is yet to be determined. What we do know for a fact is that the leash, which has been ever thinning since the end of 2024, well, guess what? It's broken.
Stanford has fired head coach Troy Taylor.
Maybe staying in the FCS was the right move after all, but if these sins are true, good luck getting back. I send my condolences in the form of the first ever off-season Clown of the Week award. This probably goes to the entire program at this point, but Troy can carry it with him in his next expenditure, wherever that may be. Better go pluck that weed now. Thanks for watching, and as always, power to Tardaria. Well, now that Stanford has a coaching spot open, I'm sure they'll make the right move and not sign a one-year rental who went 1-10 with the Panthers to a coaching spot. Surely not Stanford.